Hey, this is Christian Ross, and I have another tentacle tip for you from OctopusDo. Today's project will be creating a wood polish out of natural ingredients, and I'm going to be using it on the Goddess Loom. The first ingredient you're going to need is beeswax. You'll need olive oil, your choice on the type. A measuring cup really comes in handy because you're going to need to measure your ingredients, and a mixing bowl. This one is glass because I'm going to be using it on a mug warmer or candle warmer instead of trying to heat it on the stove. Now to apply this, I'm going to be using cotton flannel squares. And it's always a good idea to have a little bit of baking soda around anytime you're heating wax, because you can pour that on it to douse a flame instead of using water. And for a bit of a personal touch, I have this clove essential oil that I think smells wonderful, and my loom will smell like that if I just add a few drops. Look for a link to each of these items in the description below. And let's get started using the natural beeswax. And I just need to cut off a little chunk. I forgot to mention, a knife would be handy. It's very soft, but you just have to use a little bit of pressure. I'm using the flannel pad underneath, so I don't really cut into my table. Beeswax melts at a fairly low temperature. You can use a microwave set on half power to melt this. You can use a double boiler like you would for cooking chocolate, but this mug warmer works great. It really doesn't take long for the wax to melt. You can see it's already starting. I think maybe overall it took about 10 minutes for this to melt. Once the beeswax becomes completely liquid, then I need to measure how much I have here. I'm using just one of the measuring cups off the top of a medicine bottle because this doesn't really have to be terribly accurate. This ended up being about 8 milliliters, which really was too much for this project, but with refrigeration, because this is a natural mixture, you can store it. Now I'm going to do a 1-to-1 ratio with the olive oil. I pour the same amount of olive oil in here as the wax that I started out with. Watch this, this is cool. Because the olive oil is at a lower temperature, it made the wax start to harden when they mixed together. So I put it back on my warmer so that that part melts. And here's where I'm going to add a few drops of my clove oil. I know I'm a little odd, I like clove. There we go. Took a second for that to come out. Now I just stir this until everything is remelted and all of the ingredients are thoroughly mixed. Now let's do a quick test. This needle is made of the same Baltic Birch that the loom is made of. So I just dip my flannel and I'm going to rub a little bit on there to see what happens. That's all it takes. Just add a drop and rub it in. You can see it takes on a bit of a golden hue, and the pores of this wood just soak that wax and oil up. And this treatment gives that a protective barrier and a bit of a shine. And it really smells good. I like the ratio of the 1-to-1 mix, so I'm going to proceed with polishing the loom. I'm doing this while it's still warm and the wax and oil mixture is still liquid. I think it makes it easier for the loom to absorb. I'm making sure that the entire loom is covered And I'm going in circular motions to polish. I'm going with the grain to make sure that the oil and wax mixture, the polish gets all the way down into the fibers of the wood. If you decide to do this while your wax is still warm, know that it is warm, really. It's a little hot, so be careful and don't burn yourself. Always test the temperature before you really dive in and stick your fingers in there. Use gloves if you need to. I'm not terribly worried about having a bit of excess here. And of course, when you're getting into the nooks and crannies and you'll basically end up getting wax in the teeth, you can go through and use your cloth to pick that out. But you see how I've got wax in the corners? That's okay, because I'm just going to use that and I'm going to keep buffing until everything is absorbed. You can do this with a couple of different layers as well. Just wipe everything down with a clean cloth when you're done to make sure that you don't have anything that's going to transfer onto your threads after it's dry. Don't forget all of your edges. Now comes a point where I am just going to buff all the wax that I've already put on there. I'm not adding any more wax, just taking a clean flannel pad and going over the loom. And that really just kind of presses in all of the wax I've used so far. You can really feel the difference. Just a side note, my hands also were very soft and smelled great after this. So there's something about the goddess looms in general that lend themselves toward meditative creativity and really being in the moment. And this act of polishing this loom was no exception. There's just something about taking the time to protect your tools and really honor the tools that you're working with, along with all of the accessories that have all of these things that can spark meditation, such as I release my fears and I am grateful. You see these things as you're working, or I see these things as I'm working, but and think about them. But polishing these and protecting these really gave me a chance to mentally go over these ideas, to mentally polish them and really think about how I am grateful. And kind of give care to those ideas within myself as I'm physically manifesting this. All right, that's my deep thought for the day. Since there's quite a bit of this left over, I'm just going to refrigerate it and I can use it again. Look at that, how beautiful. The wood has that golden sheen to it. It doesn't feel waxy. It doesn't feel slippery or oily. It's just beautiful. So, quick and easy protection for your loom. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget, give me a like, give me a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, click on the notifications, find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram, all of that. I'm everywhere. That's why you need 8 arms. Until next time, go make something.